Okay, so hopefully we won't have as many interruptions as we had last time. Thank you guys for being patient and for watching. Again, today is number 15 of 42 days in online business. So today I want to talk about partnerships. This comes up a lot, especially when you're getting started. The idea of kind of having someone else along for the ride feels safe, right? It feels like, okay, we're in this together, we'll do it together. And it feels, especially at the beginning, feels really desirable, or it definitely feels like something that could feel easier, like at least you're kind of in it together, you're going to split everything, it's a nice idea, especially if you guys have similar expertise or something like that. Like someone's like, oh, I'm great on nutrition, and the other person's like, well, I'm great on exercise. So it's really tempting. I'm not personally a huge fan of partnerships in general. I'm going to tell you why in a second. I don't think it's off limits. Plenty of people do it, with success. But there's a couple things that you want to look out for. One thing that is important to think about is, as an option, for example, is having a partner in one specific thing that you're doing. So one specific event, like the Radiance Retreat, which you guys know I partner with Jen Sinkler and Nagar Fanuni, and we have one single thing that we partner together, and it's worked really well, but we each have our own separate businesses. And so you want to think about, is one person more invested in this? Potentially this is like the one thing that they have, and the other person has a business already or is doing something full time. So you want to make sure that when you guys are coming together, you have to be on the same page work ethic wise and core values wise. So to me, those are much more important than like, someone's really smart and I'm going to bring them in because, they're, they just know other stuff that I don't know. I mean, that's always great, but two things are really important. Number one, do you have a similar work ethic? And number two, do you have similar core values? Do you believe that the same things are important? Because here's the thing that you miss. A lot of times your business is not about expertise, right? Someone has a PhD and someone has, this certification or whatever. And we go, oh, together we'll be even better, which sounds great in theory, but it's not the most important thing, because marketing is a lot more important. Marketing is a lot more important than like who's bringing what to the table. Yes, it's nice to have someone who has a lot of expertise or a complementary expertise, but if they're not willing to do the work, especially if you're just starting out, you're not going to hire a marketing team. You don't have the money for that. So you need to learn how to do it yourself, which you need someone else who's willing to also do that level of effort and put that level of effort in. So you guys need to have a conversation. You need to have the conversation of like, okay, how many hours a week are we both willing to work on this? Are we both willing to do the things necessary to learn the skills that we need to move forward? The only way this doesn't work, or potentially work a different way, is if you have two people, one person is like the face of the company and the other person is like the legwork, right? So someone's like, okay, I've seen husbands and wives do this, where like the wife is like the face and the husband's like the behind the scenes guy who does all the kind of like the legwork and putting this stuff together and kind of like the business side of stuff. That can work. Of course, we talk about relationships and being in partnerships with the significant other. There's a whole other set of challenges I'm not going to go into. As you guys know, I worked with Metabolic Effect for a while when Jade and I were married. And we had a lot of years of amazing work together, but ultimately having two entrepreneurs trying to drive the ship did not work. And also, it was never something I could possibly be as passionate about because it wasn't mine, right? So Metabolic Effect was Jade's. Sorry, Pip is like eating a book. Hey, can we not, please? Hey, can we not? Thank you. Can we not, please? Real life people. So you need to figure out who's going to do what and then have a conversation about that. So communication is so, so important. Willing to learn, willing to grow. Hey. No. Lewis House, she really likes your book. If you guys haven't gotten this yet, make sure you guys pick up The Mask of Masculinity. She really wants to eat it, so apparently she wants to read it too. Okay, so a couple things. Marketing effort, work ethic, core values. Super, super important. So it needs to both be your things. So for example, if you have someone who has a full-time job and this is not their thing, and they're like, yeah, I'll contribute when it's convenient for me, that's not going to work long-term. So you want to make sure that it's both your things. So for example, something like the Radiance Retreat, where the three of us are invested together, we have very set like tasks that we each do. This is how much we market, this is how much we each email out to our list, and we bring in very similar effort. We're coming up on the witching hour for this dog. So expertise alone does not cut it. If you bring in someone because they're like an expert in something and you're like, you know what, I would love to bring in a physician because they have the background and it will give me credibility. If they don't have a following and you're the one who's going to be like the marketing engine and you're the one willing to do the Facebook Lives and the social media posts and write the emails and have the content, that's fine, but make sure you guys have that conversation. And I would not recommend, if that's the case, splitting the profits 50-50. So I know it's kind of crazy if you think about like, oh, the person's going to be like the smart one of the two of us and they're going to have the expertise. Because in my experience, the whole behind the scenes and the marketing and the sales and all of that is so much more valuable than just like someone who knows some stuff. So if you're going to split the profits, I would recommend not doing a 50-50 split. If you have someone who's like the smart one and then the other person's like kind of the grunt work, right? So you have to have the conversation. Do we have the same core values? Do we have the same work ethic? Are we both willing to do what it takes to market this? Because that's really what it's going to take. And if not, then just make sure that whatever the profits are, that you're splitting them commensurate with the effort and have that conversation ahead of time. So the reason why I like to talk about partnerships is because I had a partnership that did not go well. Actually, it was, and I was grateful to be a part of it. Someone had approached me who had the capital, who had the financial resources to back a project that was her idea. And I was the one who had the expertise, but I was also building JillFit at the time. I was working for Metabolic Effects at the time. I was in grad school at the time. And I took it on because I wanted to be, and it's my fault, but I took it on because I wanted to be, I wanted to appease and placate. And I was like, that sounds amazing. But she was doing it as a full-time gig. And I always wanted to work on JillFit and not on that thing because it wasn't my idea. It wasn't my baby. And yet she had put up the financial resources. And I was really young at the time and just didn't have the foresight to have that conversation. And we got into a serious problem 2 years in when I wasn't pulling my weight because I just didn't want to. And that was really shitty of me. We should have had the conversation a long time before. It was me just being immature and not being comfortable having the conversation myself. And so you're going to have some serious conversations, some crucial conversations, some important conversations, some clear, direct, honest communication, and talk about how you're going to communicate moving forward. But if you're in a position right now with a partner who you feel like is not pulling their weight in whatever way, shape, or form, you need to do one of two things. Either have that conversation right now and don't do it in an accusatory way, but do it in like, here's how I'm feeling. Can we talk about this so that they don't get defensive? Because honestly, like there's no room for like that defensive. You kind of just have to be like, this is how I see it. You might not see it that way, but can we have this conversation? Because in order for our business to thrive, like we need to talk about these things. So you have to have the honest conversation or you have to get out. That's it. And I know it's hard because maybe it's a friend of yours. For me, it was really hard because it was someone I was really close to and had a professional relationship with. And it was really scary to have that conversation. Like, this isn't for me after someone had put in 6 figures worth of financial backing capital. So I would say in general, try to go it alone. But here's the last thing I'll say. Especially if you are starting to go it alone, you're going to start getting a lot of, as you get more successful, people are going to reach out and they're going to want to do collaborations with you. They're going to be like, hey, let's do this thing together. Let's partner. If it's an affiliate arrangement, then that's pretty low risk. But if someone wants to create something with you, I always ask myself this question. If this person did not email me or reach out to me about this opportunity, would I have reached out to them of my own volition? Is this something I would have gone after myself? And if the answer is no, then it's just a distraction. And the answer is no, right? So if the answer is no, it's a distraction and you say no. But if you're like, you know what, I probably would have sought this opportunity out myself. And if that's the case, then it is probably a yes. But I guarantee you there's going to be a whole lot more no's in your business, at least I hope there are, than there are yeses. I think because you can get so distracted with other people's agendas, they see you as someone who's doing something amazing and taking a lot of strides and really kind of elevating yourself. And they want to be part of that, which is cool. And as you do that, you're going to get more interest. People are going to be intrigued with what's going on. They're going to want a piece of it, not in like a really, not in a malicious way, but in a way that like they want to know what's up because you're obviously doing something good. And so you just need to be on alert for that stuff. So if it's a supplement that you're like, there's no way I would ever even take this myself, so why would I push that? A lot of it is getting over your fear of confrontation, and it doesn't need to be like a negative confrontation, but getting over your fear of like having the conversation and saying, hey, I'm so honored that you thought of me, but I'm not in a position right now to take on a partnership. But if anything changes in the future, I'll let you know. And to me, that's like the kindest way and the most honest way to just say, I'm not interested, but I wish you the best. Or maybe we can talk about this in 6 months, but at this point, I'm not in a position for this. So when you are fielding other people's agendas in your inbox, be discerning, because there's going to be a ton more opportunities. And I think it was Steve Jobs who said the success of your business is based on the ability to say no, or something like that. Like, that's how important it is, because other people's agendas can be huge distractions from what you're trying to create. And so for every, yes you say, you need to say at least 10 to 20 no's. And just ask yourself, is this something I would seek out? If not, it's a no. That's it. And you can be very kind about that. All right, guys, that's it for me. Have a great weekend. I'm going to try and get on this weekend. We'll see. But if you have a question, again, post it below. And if you would, this would be amazing for me. If you really liked having Pip as, let me show you guys what she's doing right now. What are you doing? What are you doing in there? What are you doing in there? Are you going to behave now? She was literally just like pawing at her thing. Oh, now that you have attention? I don't know how people do it with dogs. I mean, I love her, but she's a crazy girl. Anyway, if you guys liked the guest starring Pip, give me a thumbs up. That would be a huge favor to me, so that, or laughing, or whatever you want to do. So that Facebook knows that this is relevant and it pushes it into the newsfeed. You guys are the best. If you're liking these, let me know. If you have a question, let me know. And I will get to it. Hopefully this was informative for you guys. And I'm wishing you the best, as always. Talk to you soon. Bye.